we actually know what works in reading. It's not a mystery.
What's in front of the edge?
The data is 7 out of 10 of our students are not able to read by the end of 3rd grade. This needs to be a state priority because kids need to know how to read.
How would you feel if you was living in a house like this?
What this initiative said is, let's look at all of these different types of communities and see what works. How can we inform the rest of the world about how literacy can be enhanced through communities?
Our role as the community assessment team was to go into each one of these 5 communities and really get to know the communities, find out what their strengths were, find out what their challenges are, and find out how they define success.
Brad walked around the bike.
So this is communal. This is everyone's responsibility. All of us have a role to play in ensuring that our kids are able to read on grade level by the end of 3rd grade.
We're all in this together. When one of us is a better reader, all of us are better readers.
It is an imperative that we do so, and we actually know how to do so. So let's just make it happen.
House. When we started, Jemiah was very shy and a little, I think, standoffish when it comes to reading in front of other people. And so the fact that you all were able to come in today and actually catch her on video reading, and she knows that other people are going to see it, and it just shows the kind of leaps and bounds that she has made in her confidence, because I know back in August that never would have happened. She would have been way too self-conscious.
You are my hero.
My name is Casey Eller. I am a math coach at a local middle school, but every Monday for 30 minutes a week, I come here and I tutor a girl who's in the 3rd grade.
You think Muslim's going to be a hero? Let's see what he does.
Help somebody. As a math teacher in middle school, I see how early reading can affect math students when they're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, because there is so much reading on the test.
What is very interesting about Second Baptist, though, is that the church never moved out of the neighborhood, but the neighborhood changed. That you have African Americans that are the primary demographic in the neighborhood, and the church primary demographic is European American, but they don't live in the neighborhood. But their mission is vested in the neighborhood.
And also, the kid I'm reading this book to is the best kid ever in the history of the whole entire world. Woo! That means you're the best kid ever.
If you put a compelling cause in front of somebody and say that we know your volunteering will make a difference, that folks will sign up and that they'll volunteer.
Somebody tell the tutor.
One of the challenges was there was no other program like this that we knew of, and so we built it from scratch and then flew the plane as we were building it.
Mom, okay, Mom.
Social justice is a major mission of the church, and literacy became tied to their mission. And when they looked around, they said, how can we have the biggest effect? They said, hey, this is where we need to be working. So they are vested in this mission, and it shows how we can cross boundaries in order to affect change. And that's what Community Solution Initiatives is about, affecting change.
This is my brother.
If you were to go over to our church, everybody knows what MLK Reads is. Everybody knows where Martin Luther King Elementary is. Everyone knows that Randall's the coordinator and that if you want to volunteer, see Randall.
Do you remember Miss Eller? Or Miss Casey? Oh, I keep forgetting that. There are challenges every day in the program, and there have been days when I've woke up and I thought either I didn't sign up for this or that I'm not the right person for this job. But what keeps me going are seeing these children improve.
I bet that's the granny. And what's she doing?
Reading.
And we now know, because the research is without question, that we have got to get our children reading by the 3rd grade. And so that keeps me going.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Katie.
Another lesson learned is that that justice is not something that is quick and easy and simple. It is a long-term investment and a long-term challenge.
Okay. All right, keep reading.
She's gotten a lot more comfortable, and those flashcards that we were doing, she knows those now. And even when we stumble, as she doesn't take it personally anymore. She knows that she has the tools in order to be a successful reader. And so getting to know her over the past few months since August of last year has just been a joy. I just really like her as a young lady, as a person, and I'm just very excited to see what kind of 4th grade student she's going to be.
Another.
Very nice.
I think most people have a desire to be involved. And so we tell folks just the reality of what happens to a child after he or she leaves the 3rd grade when they can't read on grade level. And those statistics speak for themselves. And so we can, we ask folks to get involved, but often the ask is the easiest part, because once you've talked about the struggle of students, once you've talked about the pipeline to prison, most folks want to get involved with it.
This relationship will last. Even though MLK Kid may have graduated from the program, the tutors continue to maintain those relationships with the kids that had graduated, and I thought that was pretty special, and really speaks to the relationship that was developed between the tutors and the kids.
It's a commitment, but it doesn't take up as much time versus what you get out of it. So you put in a half hour a week and you just get a whole year's worth of joy from this student. And the student I tutored last year, I still see her in the hallways.
Derecha, izquierda, un brinquito, right, left, derecha.
When we help our children when they're little to look at reading like something so awesome, so powerful, that they can travel the world through books, you know, that they can do so much. It's kind of that exercise. I like to say they're feeding their brains and exercising their mind in the way of loving to read.
Feed your brain. Okay, let's march it. Okay. Feed your brain, read a book.
You know, we get our kids to read, and the way we do it with like our summer reading programs, we make it fun, because sometimes the message is, oh, you gotta read. You know, let's go to the library. No, man, hey, let's go to the library. Hey, we're gonna read.
Cuando agarro un libro y leo. We're singing now, follow. Turn off the TV. Grab a book and start to read.
It's associating reading with music, with fun. Anytime you can read a book that is kind of the rhyming type of book, I mean, that is so awesome, because then it's almost like the kid starts connecting the arts and the music and the visuals and the drawings. That's what we try to do with One Community, you know.
Feed your brain, read a book.
One Community in Springdale has done a terrific job of engaging families, primarily Latino families, maybe first and second generation immigrants, to help understand the American education system and engage with their children.
Dulce, Lulu, They come to school, parents, 4 days a week and spend like 4 hours here, you know, learning English, getting ready for their GED for some of them, others just to be able to work with their children in the classroom setting. So these are invested parents, and it's very important to get the message out there that our parents are like any other parent, really invested in their child's education, but we got to give them the tools in order to help them. So the question is, if the child is old enough, do I still need an interpreter?
There's this wonderful quote that one of the parents said, when I first began going to my child's parent-teacher conference, I would say everything was fine, everything was okay. But once attending PTLA, I began to ask questions. How can I help? What do I need to know? What are some of the issues that are coming up?
All of that together helps our kids reading.
It has created a bridge between parents, community, and school. And what I've seen since the beginning I started working is that parents really want to get out there.
So do you talk tú hablas con tu hijo después de?
The parents want to be involved in the schools and they just don't know how. They want to be involved in the community and they don't know how. So One Community helps to be that, that bridge, and that they provide the resources they need and the confidence that they need to become a part of the community in the schools.
Inez, do you remember your goal for your child?
My goal for me is do my GED.
Very good.
And then I can help my kids.
Yes. And what do you do with your son every night?
Reading and do his homework, helping him.
Very good. So when they come back from being in their child's classroom, we talk about, well, what did the teacher do with your child today? How can you help, you know, your child do this activity at home? So really every day we do talk about how they can help their child.
Okay, positive for our children? So what we're teaching parents is to, instead of waiting for the change to come, where somebody, instead of saying, well, he's not reading at grade level because he might be confused with the language, because he speaks Spanish and, you know, in English, so it's going to take longer. We're telling parents, no, you're going to help speed that process. Right. You're going to go to that school when your child is not reading at grade level. You're going to ask that question in parent-teachers conference, and then now you're going to say, so what can we do to make it happen? De acuerdo a algún estudio nacional, los niños tienen que estar leyendo a su nivel para tercer
Para
grado.
mí me han significado mucho porque he crecido como persona. Siempre me había mantenido, sabía que tenía que involucrarme en la educación de mis hijos, pero no lo tomaba yo en serio. Sebastián, ¿quieres comer? ¿Quieres un taco?
Sí. Not only the teacher gets the help, but the community is also seeing that parents are the ones taking the lead to make changes in the community.
¿Cómo te fue en la escuela?
Bien.
Que uno de padre, ¿verdad? Es el ejemplo y uno es el que tiene que poner el ejemplo en que nuestros niños lean. Entonces, pues eso les ayuda para preparando pues a su futuro.
Think, say, great. Where?
Muy bien, ¿ya ves? ¿Y por qué no te la ha pasado la maestra?
When I come home on my bike, I eat my dinner, and then I do my homework, then I be on the computer, then I do some art, then I do some reading. Other horses, we saw Big Red. We had fun. We went to... Because I'm so curious about every book, even chapter books.
Aquí es PTA meeting.
Lo motivo mucho a que lea para que luego me cuente. Yo le digo, no sé qué dice el libro, no sé de qué se trata. Lo puedes leer y me cuentas a mí.
You read it, but it didn't stay. So what do we need to do when that happens? Cuando eso pasa, ¿qué hacemos? ¿Ah? Pero ¿qué hacemos cuando eso pasa? Can we read it again? ¿Podemos leer el libro?
I remember one little girl, and she wrote like a poem about feed your brain, and basically her whole idea was that feeding their brains helped them travel the world in their imagination, and that they can dream about being whoever they want to, and that no matter if they don't know English or they don't know any other language, they can learn and they can be whoever they want to through reading.
What book are we going to read today?
A Bite for Bread.
To see these boys come in and they're smiling and they're learning to read better, and just the interaction with them, you can tell you're making an impact on their lives.
What Our Kids Read does is brings to bear a lot of the folks that are dealing in this world, whether it be about reading or volunteerism, and we just connect the dots.
Around the bike.
My name is Keith Hill. I've been with AR Kids Read now. This is my first year. It's been beneficial just watching the kids because they get excited when I'm here. I've missed a few times. The first thing Corey said is like, "Where were you last week?"
He thought, oh, don't take any nice of him.
What is this?
No.
If we can have a tutor come along and support a student 30 minutes a week and encourage reading independently on their own, that coupled with the excellent teaching that's going on in the classroom and support from parents, that's really what can make a difference.
Balance.
Balance. Good job.
One of the suggestions we had was to create a log, attendance log for a tutor and the student. So they started to document each session as far as the attendance goes, as far as what kind of books are read during the session. So they can actually look at the data and to see whether the program is implemented as they had planned.
What does that sound?
Quarters.
There you go. It's well worth giving away an hour and a half of your time a week to come make an impact on these kids, because the kids are our future. So it's been a blessing for sure.
From the very beginning, we never wanted these to be just nonprofit initiatives or just school initiatives. We wanted them to be nonprofit school partnerships and really driven by the community, what should happen. Because if the whole community is not bought into educating its children, there's only so much that teachers can do every day in the classroom.
The one thing I think about when I think of Our Kids Read participating in schools is the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child." It takes all of us. It takes the teachers, it takes me, the administration, the staff, and community members and parents to come together. And I really saw the benefit in the kids seeing that we all care that you become a fluent reader.
For the longest time, I thought that the school's doors were shut, that they wouldn't welcome community volunteers, that it was kind of, we're gonna take care of these issues, we're gonna work with these kids, and we don't need any help doing it. But I'm understanding is these principals and these school coordinators and the district, they want people to come alongside them and support their children, that they want community volunteers, they want parents to come in and help their children, because that's gonna be a way that we can do this. We're all gonna do it together. We all have a stake in this.
When people they're not an outsider to the school, but they become integrally involved with the school, they see more firsthand what children are dealing with in schools. And so systemically, I think it's a huge benefit to have these people and businesses come in and be involved in the school, because now it's no longer the school across the street, it's my school.
What's the name of the story?
Currently, we work with Reading is Fundamental to support Boys and Girls Club with their Read for Success program.
The divers work to savor, cutting one line after another. You think they're going at a slow pace?
Read for Success is a 35 book collection. They're multicultural, STEAM-driven, and they're meant to reach low-income students in low-income neighborhoods in schools and through community partners. So we support 7 Boys and Girls Clubs. We hire certified teachers to run this program. each day for 7 weeks in the summer. They will teach a book a week, and on one of those days they'll take a field trip that will supplement the learning for the book. So for instance, if it's a book about animals, they can go to the zoo or they can bring in animals to the Boys and Girls Clubs, and that'll tie the learning to the book.
You can decorate your whale tail any way you want. You can make it a rainbow, you can make it all black, you can make it...
By bringing the community into the schools, it helps the schools out, but it also helps the community out too, because it builds this shared identity. And once you have that shared identity, you also have a shared responsibility. And I think that's one of the tenets of what Our Kids Read attempts to do.
I've always thought I was patient, but my student Corey, he's very energetic. He told me that he didn't have any friends one day. And I let him know, I said, well, you stated that you have one friend, well now you have two. You have me as well. So you get a chance to connect with students on another level besides just reading. You get a chance to find out, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And you can really be someone that they can look up to and someone that they can appreciate knowing that they have a support group.
They really want to make a difference, and the tutors will take no self-gratification out of this. They'll say, when I go into it, all I wanted to do was help a student, and they ended up gaining so much more and learning about themselves. So we want people to see that and understand that it's not just teaching basic reading skills, you're there for 30 minutes, but that you really get invested and you don't want to leave.
So kids, they really teach you, I guess, a lot of aspects that you lose being an adult. One, which is hope. Kids have a lot of hope. They're very curious, there's things that they want to learn. They're going to do whatever it takes to find out what those things are. They don't really have a lot of limitations. They don't really understand what risks are. So those type of aspects allow you to push the envelope. I used to be a struggling reader, and I came from a single parent family, and I had a mother that would work 2 and 3 jobs. And I had a reading tutor that was not, cheap. I believe each session cost about $75. And I would go to her house on a Saturday and read for about 3 hours. So I understand the significance of the program and the value that it brings to the students and the families involved. So that's the main reason why I chose to do it, and probably why I take it so seriously.
Pushes him ever so gently, a little nudge. Then, one by one, she nudges the other divers too.
It's important for us to remember that someone had to help us. And if we want the future to be strong and bright, we have to reach back and pull them with us. And we have to instill in them the importance of being responsible, helping others, and just being a stand-up citizen.
We're gonna get some others involved, right? Because it's gonna take a community to help, isn't it? You can't do it alone. So why is that important?
Foundation of the Arkansas grade level reading program for Marbley Lane Reads was developed with the collaboration between the Boys, Girls, Adults Community Development Center and the Marbley Lane Elementary School.
The major programs is in the summer they have what they call Freedom School, in which the children receive literacy instruction in a interactive manner so that the summer learning loss is less.
Mostly during the year, you sit down and listen to the teacher and whatever. But during the summer, Freedom School, I love it because my kids love Freedom School. They're not going to miss Freedom School.
What kept waking her up in the morning times? One of the benefits I see is helping kids learn how to read when they're not getting the reading at home that they should. They're coming here and getting it. So I think it's helping a lot of them, especially a couple in my class. Y'all come up with, y'all come up with ideas and draw the picture down of how you make the word different. I learned ways to connect with kids, you know, like Freedom School, songs, chants, new ideas, how to read, how to get children involved. Okay, Zakari helped them out. I think I can make a difference in my life because, you know how to read so we can go to elementary, high school, then college, and everyone gets excited about college. So I feel like the more they're knowing things, the more they're advancing themselves to become who they want to become.
You're not out, you're not out, you're not out.
Most of us grew up in single-parent homes, and I grew up in a single-parent home. So just me being a positive male role model in some of these kids' lives and see how they, when I come to the cafeteria, they cling to me, tell me to come sit with them, and we play basketball together, we talk together. That right there, it touched me because I always wanted that growing up. There we go. Hey, I need you always, even with this, all right? They see that college interns come back home to help out. They see that, and they might not witness this now. They might not actually pay attention to it now, but as they get older, they're gonna see like, okay, I know people who came from this school, that school, this school, just to help out in this community. So that will motivate them to go to college, that will motivate them to come back.
So what we have is a school system that places a lot of emphasis on reading, and then we bring in the Marvel Elaine Reid program and Freedom School all combined together to reinforce our belief in reading.
And then on the inside, I gave you index cards. I want you to get supporting details.
I've seen where data has actually mobilized parents and administrators and the like, because it was, clear to see in my community what our reading scores were.
So we designed our bag to say courage. And then on the back side, we have like the steps of the
So the data helps with parent engagement, because otherwise parents don't know. They send their kids to school every day. They like the school, they like the teacher, everything is fine, but then their kid actually can't read.
Okay, what color you want?
I want red.
Does the parent value, education? If the parent values education, then their engagement is probably going to be much higher. And we're going to work on that from a concept of going back and putting a program around that idea.
One of the interesting aspects was a great-grandmother who talked about raising her grandchild, which is common in the African-American community. But what was so fabulous about it, she talked about how smart he was.
He really helps me and his grandpa, cause a lot of words I can't explain, and sometimes I might be saying it wrong, and he'll say, no, Grandma, that's not right. So he helps teach me.
And he was part of the Marvel Elaine Reid's program, and she was talking about how beneficial it was, because some of the things that are outside of the grandmother's purview in terms of teaching her grandson, it wasn't because she didn't want to, she just didn't have the tools or the skills, but Marvel Elaine Reid's filled in that gap.
I encourage him because I want him to be way more than what I am. So therefore, we encourage him, and he loved doing it. He keep a book in front of his face, and he can just pick up any book, and there's not too much in there he can't read at his age. So I think that's her.
Keeping our children in a structured, formal program, pretty much 12 months a year in a year-round program, that's what's giving us the success. That's how Marvel Elaine Reid, I believe, is having the success that we have, because I do have parents that work. I do have some parents that may not have high school educations. So if I have them, and that's what I tell parents, if you just give them to me, let me feed them in the morning, let me educate them, let me feed them in the afternoon, and let me send them back home to you in the evening, that I promise you that we will make a difference in your child's life.
All of this information and be able to talk. If you can get parents, community partners, and the Marvel Elaine School together, that we can actually get parents to understand that that if your child cannot read, they cannot function in society today.
So, as part of Arkansas grade level reading, but how do we know we've done a better job?
If you are truly committed to a change agenda, you have to invest and think about what does this look like in our most underserved, under-resourced communities. If you can't move the needle there, good luck on achieving a change agenda, be it third grade reading, be it 8th grade math, be it high school graduation rates, or whatever else.
The program really can increase the number of students who read better.
No one wants to raise someone who can't read. You'd be hard-pressed to run into anybody on the street or any high poverty parent or vulnerable parent or whatever negative term you want to put. You'd be pressed to run into that parent and he or she says, oh sure, I would love for my kid to be illiterate. That's not going to happen. But do they know what is necessary or how to do it or the discipline or the tools? Once you give that or provide that to a parent and they know what's at stake, you can't tell me that Arkansans aren't going to step up to it.
So as you close your eyes, envision it. And as you envision it, take in a deep breath of positivity. Now let go of that deep breath of all that negativity. One more time, take in that deep breath of positivity. Now let go of that deep breath of negativity. Let me hear you say, I say, I say, I say, I say.
I found it first.
I found it too.
Education is important, and you have to set a foundation for your kids, because you don't set a solid foundation for your kids, where will they be in 10 years from now? Where will they be in 20 years from now? Making the same mistakes that you made, and you really can't fault anyone but yourself for it because you didn't set a positive pattern for your kids. I think I can find it first. Let's see. My name is Cindy Williams. I am a parent of a daughter. Her name is Emma Owens. She's 8 years old and in the 2nd grade.
So Eudora Reads is in a small community in Eudora, Arkansas. It's a predominantly African American community. It's also a community that is challenged economically. One of the neat things that Eudora Reads has brought to the community is they were able to make the community feel that somebody besides ourselves is really invested in working on our education.
Last summer, approximately 150 students participated in our summer program. So we had kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders. We had parents that volunteered, grandparents that volunteered. We did crafts, we did puzzles, we did crayon markings, we did reading.
She's brave, right? How many of y'all afraid of mice?
I am. When these children see everybody partaking, it lets them know that you care. And when children know that you care, and when they see their parents visible, they say, oh, my mom is coming. My mom wants to hear me read. Or my mom said she was proud of me. It means a lot to those children.
Which words you can find?
I have problems reading. That's the reason why it's very important to my kids to read, because I don't want them to struggle at nothing they do. Because there's certain things I can read, I have to go to someone to help me read, and I want my kids to be able to read better than I can.
Something is not right. What y'all think is about to happen? It sounds like do homework with your kids. Ask them how was their day at school. Just be more active in your kids' life. If you show them you care, they'll go an extra mile to show you that they can do their best. And I know that because I am a parent. My baby, she go the extra mile to show me she can do her best. So she have a good instincts about the girls, right? She could just.
If you don't put efforts in it, the kids won't put efforts in it. If they can do anything they put their heart to, I don't want them to be no failure.
She love winter, snow, and ice. I'm educating myself. Right now, I have enrolled in a GED program.
I'm very excited about it because I feel like by me dropping out of school, I don't want to set that pattern for my daughter. I want her to know that anything is possible to do. Now, how many of y'all will go close to a tiger at the zoo? And I want her just to know that any goals that you want to reach, you can. It's not too high. All you have to do is study, take your time, have a strong will, and go for it.
What color were they?
Southeast Arkansas, it's like when you're in Little Rock, you don't even know where Eudora is or if it exists or not. So now they can actually say that they're here, and then you actually hear the word, you hear the city's name, Eudora, in different places now. Before you did not.
But they always said Hardin, and that's what we all spoke.
It helps the community in many ways because it makes them, it puts them on the map, so to say. And sometimes people just want to be a part of that or to help out, to get them from one level to another. It lets funders know that they're there and they need the help.
By making this a state priority and directing resources and best practices to changing that statistic, we can show the nation that this can change in your state or in your area. Most importantly, because Arkansas is primarily rural, there's a lot that we can tell rural America about how we can get our kids to read on grade level by being a national model for rural America.
Can anybody shake? Let's shake.
The smallness and the closely knit part of this community is not something we see in many schools today. And here you have a school that is, in essence, the community. And they have made Eudora Reads part of this community effort. I mean, because it involves the school and Little Jacobs, which are the two biggest educational, as well as the cultural center.
Do we need to go over them together? Yes.
I am Linda Gayfield, born and raised in Eudora. I taught school 34 years. I'm now retired. And I serve as the literacy coach down at Little Jacob Learning Center.
You're going the way the arrow goes.
The main thing is I try to have them to read every day, orally, and talk about that because I found that the children in this area have problems with comprehension, so they need to be able to read out loud. I'm trying to develop a love of books for them. We have a little thing where they can read so many books and they get a prize.
And after Animal Homes, what do we have?
Little Jacob is the namesake of our second son, Jacob Thomas Washington, and we focus on literacy, computer literacy, reading, and mentoring. And our program fits in with Eudora Reads by providing a component of the reading programs that complement what the school offers.
Flowers grow and the cactuses.
I truly believe that they don't want any children to be left behind. So they help us a lot by the children getting to go there so we can get them over that 50th percentile so that we can bring them up to where the children that are advanced or proficient.
After 50 years, what happens?
My husband and I are both from the Delta, and we understand the impact of reading. We felt like it's important to give the kids here a foundation and to give them an opportunity to kind of level the playing field for them.
Who live in the White House? Me. You live in the White House? Maybe
if we could do anything to remember our son, we wanted to make sure that his legacy was something that was established and that would be long-lived, and that in the same sense we're giving back to the community.
I think the bees suspect something. Then the balloon lost.
There were no programs within our community that the school could actually partner with. And when we both achieve success, then we know we've gotten to where we need to go.
We all go after stars.
We are celebrating the successes of our children from the day they entered our school and our classrooms in August all the way into this present time. Some has been successful, some has not been as successful as others, but however, they have made gains. And I feel like if you've made gains, it's deserving of an award or to be recognized.
I am a mountain, I am a star.
We're going to grow old one day, and we have to have someone to continue to lead and take our places. So they're our future. So if they have that attitude that I'm the world's greatest, and when I'm the little bit of hope, because some children feel that they're a little bit of hope, but when you're back up against the rope, all you got to feel is that you're the world's greatest. If you can believe it, you can achieve it.
Once each one of these communities was able to really look at these numbers and look at the data, it kind of helped them make some decisions or advocate for themselves. And so we helped these communities not only learn to collect their own data and use that data for their benefit to tell their own story, we also shared with them the data that we were able to collect statewide in order to help them make better decisions for themselves.
As the whole initiative, what kind of things we can accomplish as one community. Even though each community is doing their own initiative, we really have to think about the state as a whole and think about what we can do together as one big initiative. So I think we really have come a long way with that regard.
Arkansas is often overlooked when we talk about national public policy, education-based issues. We're told that we're a small state, that we don't have models that matter, that we don't influence policy. But if we're part of a collective, if we're part of a collective organized action or organized group, then we become a part of the thousands of voices versus our lone voice around this.